Boom. Hey guys. Gotta check my mic. Oh, I think it's down. Hang on. One second. There we go. Okay. Welcome guys to this CertifiedTinner.com live stream. We're doing things a little bit different this week because we're on Saturday instead of Thursday, which is normally the night that I come on live, but this week was Independence Day here in America, so welcome Jason, Pablo, Ken, Daniel, and hope you all had a good Independence Day, except for Michael, who is from Trinidad. But this week I wasn't even sure I was going to do a live stream, really, when it came down to it. Thursday I took that day off for the 4th of July, of course, and then decided to film something, I guess, last minute today. So figured I'd get a live stream out before the end of the week, so we have not missed a week yet, just coming at you very late. So today I filmed something in my garage this week, and we are going to be going over just some basic stuff today. So I've had a handful of questions lately about fingers popping up on the door windows and how to handle them. So the way you would handle that is to shrink it before you install it, but you know, a better explanation is to show what happens first and then kind of show how I would take care of it, and then if they do pop up at the inside still, what I would do past that point. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video, and then we'll go into Q&A after. So welcome back to another video. Today we are in my own garage. It's finally done, kind of. We put up lights. We actually finished it in the middle of winter. We put up like these RGB lights here. We put up foam padding along the sides, and then we put these T5 bulbs all the way around to kind of brighten things up. And it's definitely much brighter, much cleaner. Didn't get any wider though, unfortunately. You do the best you can with what you have to work with, so that's kind of what we're doing today. I picked up this Mazda actually as an old beater car just for a secondary car just to run around with. We needed something. So we figured it'd be a great practice car, and it also would be good for some videos. So today we're going to be talking about these right here. These are called fingers. A lot of people just call them air spikes, finger bubbles I've seen, just a lot of random names for them. The industry likes to call them fingers, so that's what we're going to be calling them today. The fingers popped up at the bottom because I didn't shrink this window at all. I just installed it, and then, you know, the reason they do pop up is because the glass is curved, the film is flat, and they'll just, you know, give you a real hard time. So when you go to try and take care of one of these without shrinking it or heating it, a lot of times what's going to happen is it's going to want to shoot back up. You go to press it down, it's not ready to lay back down entirely, or it's going to push more material elsewhere, and then another loose spot is going to pop up. So see, it's coming back up now. You're going to be fighting with these if you don't shrink the film or you don't do something about the door panel or whatever. So every time one of these pops up, it has the chance to suck up whatever dirt and scum is right underneath it. So when you press it out clean the first time, it's all right. But then when it pops back up, it's just a vacuum, so it'll pull shit up with it. So we're gonna go ahead and rip this off, and then we're gonna reach in it with a shrink-heed version. So I already have about 3 more patterns cut out that we're going to play around with. So we're going to show 2 different methods of shrinking today. I've covered a lot of shrinking in the past, but I figured this one would be a good one to go over it today with so many new people asking about it. So as you can see, these same spikes have popped up at the bottom. So all I did to get those here was spray off my window, let it kind of just lay evenly on the glass. I put a gap here at the bottom, a gap here at the side, so I have as much material on the window as I can possibly have. And then we're going to basically force everything down to the bottom. So squeegeed everything out this way, and that pushes everything towards the middle. And if you kind of sweep all the water out of it, you're left with these air pockets right here. They want to go somewhere, and you have to shrink the film together to get them to go away. So one way to do this is just to shrink the individual fingers. So what we're going to see here is this zigzag pattern, and once it starts zigzagging, we're going to take a hard card and just sweep it down, and then we only have a little one. So this is a very comprehensive way of shrinking a door window. You just want to get this zigzag pattern going, and that basically is pulling all the film together to the point where you just sweep it out. Just do one at a time until it's pretty much all done. Go over the bottom a little bit, just lock everything down. And then you have a shrunk window. So when you go to install it, if you squeegee everything out evenly, you shouldn't have those. So the way that I actually like to shrink is I'll just move everything to the bottom. You don't even necessarily have to, but just kind of sweep all the water out from the pattern. And you still see the spikes, but I didn't necessarily have to gather everything. And we're going to do what is called snap shrinking or curling. You can call it either or. So I'm going to pick this up from the corner here, and I got this film here that is all wiggling, and like you can see where my tension just from pulling this corner is kind of making everything move. It's got a little bit of a wave to it. So we're just going to curl the bottom of this, and then there you go. That's it. You got these nice little tension lines that basically shows you everything that's curling here, and that's essentially the same thing as shrinking the individual fingers. It's similar. It does the same purpose, but what I've noticed is it's just a lot more even, so I like doing it this way. You just have to practice how much you curl the bottom edge, and you get better at it with time, of course. But you know you've done it enough when it lays down smooth, and you don't really have to force it very much, because if you have to push it really hard, you're going to get these real aggressive lines to shoot up. So we're going to go ahead and install this pattern, and also what I'm going to try and do is show you how to take care of little fingers that still pop up on the side. Just because you have one or two little ones that pop up doesn't mean your whole pattern is ruined. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed lately, is some people will think that just because they pop up, they have to start all over. You can definitely touch them up. It should be fine. If one of them pops up, it's not going to be the end of the world. So squeegee this off. Curling. This is some curly shit. I guess it should be. It's been sitting for like easily like 4 years. Oh, it's so nice. All right. Okay, we might have some stuff pop up this time. Let's hope. It's looking promising, but I make no promises. Ooh, that's looking scary now. Okay, so these little guys right here, that's better. You can see, ooh, if you stretch it like already, if I start pushing the material this way, it's clumping together. If you press it back out, the whole goal is to make everything even. So as these are just shooting back up, you're trying to stretch out the material and really trying to just even everything out where to go. I'm not super fond, and we got a little one right here. I just don't want this glue to stick. Every time you press it down and the glue locks to the window, that finger's gonna go away, but if they don't, that's what it's gonna look like. So let's talk about how I would take care of these ones if they happen to pop up. Okay, so let's say you got to this point and this is what your window looks like. These are not ideal. You definitely want these to be much smaller than this, so I would have shrunk it a little bit more for this example, but you know, I had to do something to make them pop up. So the first thing that I'm gonna do to take care of something like this is really just try and sweep it out. So what that would look like is take like an angled squeegee, like a soft card, something that's going to put some pressure on the window and the film, and just cleanly sweep everything out all in one go. See, I'm messed up. I'd usually be on the inside for this. I'm trying to do illustration at the same time. So I would take an angled squeegee and just try and sweep everything out at an angle right there. So what I did basically was try to just smooth everything out that way, and that seems to be enough. That's not popping back up, so that's a good thing. So if I do the same thing over here, chances are it would go away too, because this adhesive seems to be a little bit more aggressive. What you don't want to do is just sit here with a heat gun. Like this is what not to do right now. Here's my card. Here's a card. So I have a card. I have a card. I have a heat gun. What you don't want to do really is just sit here and try and warm it up and press it down, and then look, see? I got, you can see where the heat line right here. That's not really a bad thing, but it hasn't done anything really. It's like shrunk it a little bit, you pressed it down, but you did not shrink the bottom at all. So you still got that little like squiggle at the bottom that's gonna start bringing stuff up. Sometimes you can get lucky and get everything to go out, but now you can see I got another one right here. You shrink it out, press it down, and then there's just another little spot right here, because it's like whack-a-mole. As you're pushing one down, another one's popping up. As you're kind of shrinking another one, a little bit's popping up here. And all of these random fingers are popping dirt into the film. First thing you're gonna try and do is do what I did with this one. Sweep it all to the side and clean out of the way from both sides. Even distribution of everything is key in getting all your film to lay down. And it should be that simple. If you have already, like look, I got this little guy right here. This is a perfect example. This is a prime example of a little bit of a fold and just a finger that can be pressed out without sweeping it. So if I just go straight over it, chances are this one's just gonna pop back up because it's a little bit even on both sides, and it's just here. This is just one of those real small ones that you can just heat up and press out. So I'm trying to do this with as much, like I don't have much space for this, so just bear with me. So what I'm going to do is put my finger on the inside of the glass and warm this spot up. And we want to try and do this in a one-shot go. So warm the glass up, and you can see it's starting to shoot out now. You don't want it to go too far away, so you can kind of hold your tool against the glass if you need to. But you want to warm up the glass to the point where it hurts to hold your finger on the glass. And then all in one swipe, you're just going to go across it. And then that should be it, really. Everything should just lay down real smooth and even. That's part of my touch-up routine. If I see something popping up on the side, I'll warm it up a little bit and press those out. Like I said, you want to do that in as few steps as possible, because the more chances it shoots out, the more likely it's going to be to grab any little particles that you have still sitting in the seal. When you've been squeegeeing and spraying, it's not 100% clean no matter how many times you've cleaned it. A bad technique is always going to bring dirt back into the film, so you got to keep that in mind. So yeah. So thanks you guys so much for watching. I hope that was a halfway decent explanation on the little fingers that pop up on the doors, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Boom. There we go. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that. It was just kind of a rough cut video this week. And just kind of going back through some of the questions. I'll get to those in a sec. But yeah, I've seen quite a few of those in my Facebook group. So Tinternet/Tint Stuff is my Facebook group. People have been asking about, I saw somebody call them the finger bubbles recently, so that's kind of the reason for the funny title this week. But yeah, you will have them pop up from time to time. You can definitely take care of them. If you see, if they're smaller, they're not too crazy, heat them up, press them down, and you should be good to go. But the dirtier the side seals are and the bottom are, if you keep fighting with it, that's where you're going to get the most trouble. So I'm going to make a future video on basically a smoother way to install your film too, because that's another reason why you're going to get a lot of dirt and stuff from. This is all just kind of its own little unique art form. There's a lot of subtle technique that goes into window tinting, and if you don't really take the time and care into the cleaning and the install, if you don't really refine it, you're going to get all sorts of little dirt specks and stuff like that. So, but yeah, so for anybody joining us right now, this is our CertifiedTinter.com live stream. We do them every Tuesday and Thursday. We're doing this week's on Saturday just because of the 4th of July. Shot a last minute video. It was a slow week for me, just because like a lot of shops shut down for most of the week, and that to me was actually perfectly okay. So it's been really, really hot, and it's been plenty busy, so I enjoyed the little break this week. But getting back through the questions, Black Flippy asked, can I do front windows without a heat gun? Yes, you can. There are some people who actually take pride in not shrinking 99% of door windows. I don't know why they're so hyped up about it, but they are. For me, it takes, you see, a couple seconds. Just take a heat gun, warm it up, curl it, and then you're good to go. Usually for installing without shrinking, you need to either remove the door panel entirely, and that way you don't have anything popping up from the bottom, and you can just really squeegee your film out from the middle and make everything even. And sometimes it also comes down to the adhesive of the film itself. So every adhesive is going to be a little bit different on every different film. So some films grab better than others, and so that's why I think it is a little bit why some people have no problem, and then some people can't wrap their head around not shrinking a door window. So me personally, I leave door panels on. I like two-staging everything, so you'll see me install the top and then the bottom for most things except frameless doors. So you'll see that same repeated process over and over, and it only takes me a couple of seconds. So shrinking a door window has never really been anything major for me. So I'd recommend learning how to shrink door windows, because you're always going to need, it's always going to be an asset to you, but you technically do not need to. I would just highly recommend that you do. Jason asks, I'm struggling with a back window. Does snap shrinking work on a larger piece of glass? There are a handful of people I've seen talk about snap shrinking back windows, but it's just not a very common thing. It's a much bigger piece of film, so you have a lot more areas, like the whole thing needs to be shrunk, and you do that in sections. We have a lot of videos on shrinking back windows on CertifiedTinner.com, and then there's also a handful of videos still on my channel about shrinking back windows, so definitely if you want to see those for now, we have a back catalog where we went through a bunch of live streams doing back windows and stuff like that. So CertifiedTinner.com is where you could go to today to check those out, but I will definitely have more back window videos in the future. So it's just towards the ends, you could snap shrink it a little bit, but I'd recommend just trying to shrink the whole piece, just like you see in most videos. So, what car is that? That was a Mazda. It was my brand new Mazda 3 that is from 2005. I just bought it, and I might actually just resell it. So I picked it up super cheap on like the Facebook Marketplace, and there's a handful of extra things that I'm noticing that I don't like about it. So I picked it up for like a couple grand, higher miles, like just over 100,000 miles, but it looked like the motor and the trans was in decent enough shape, but there's like a handful of other things, like the tires bulging, and the other rim had some pretty bad curb rash that I didn't see before, so it's actually bent a little bit, and it's like, this might actually be a little bit more work than I wanted. But we were just looking to pick up a real cheap secondhand car just to just for some daily driver stuff, not daily driver stuff, just to like run around some errands and stuff like that. And then I also was looking for something to shoot smaller in the garage for some tutorials and stuff like that. So it doubled up as both. So probably gonna shoot some videos on this and then resell it. So I'm not completely sure. What kind of water filter system are you using? Nothing major. I just have a 200 mesh filter in the end of my sprayer. That's largely been good enough. There are inline filters that you can buy. Stay away from anything with aluminum on the inside though, because that's going to corrode. As soon as the water hits it, it'll start, like, people have been using the gas line filters, and don't use those. They have aluminum in them, and they will break apart, so I don't know why people are still recommending them, but gas line filters are made for gas, and gas isn't going to corrode the aluminum, but the water and the slip solutions will, so keep that in mind. Tintkeg.com is actually a good place to go for those inline water filters, and then there's a variety of other places that have them too as well, so there's been like massive debates on those for whatever reason. I just use a 200 mesh filter in the end of my sprayer though, and that's been good enough for me. You can tell where it's edited from when the colors jump. Oh, I got plenty of jump cuts in my videos, don't worry, but that's actually a good thing to point out. Maybe I'll leave them fixed next time. Oh man, yeah, I do so many jump cuts in my videos because you see me. I stumble over my words a lot. I say okay, all right, and then drag on, and then getting to the next thing. So I try and pace everything out. So yeah, I rely on jump cuts a lot. Not that I'm trying to like cut out much stuff, just like speed things along is what I try and do with them. But yeah, I put RGB strips in my garage because why the hell not? I watch a bunch of tech channels. They have RGB computers up the ass, and I actually have one over for my editing machine. But I wanted to just throw those in for the hell of it. It was kind of a fun way to break up the dingy white walls that I like slapped some white paint over it. It looked kind of like a mess, and then we put those audio foam blocks. These things actually got a bunch of those, put those up on the walls. Also to open up the doors, so you're kind of opening it into a soft space rather than just onto the wall, or, you know, just trying to be really careful about that. And then I figured I'd line the top and the bottom with some strips to break up the color a little bit and just see what it looked like on camera. It was pretty interesting. Certain Mazda quarters are tricky. Yeah, this one actually has those annoying quarter windows, which will also make a great video. So I'll do one on those Mazda quarters. They're just like framed rubber. There's no frit line around it. There's nowhere to tuck the film, hardly at all. So, and it's dirty as hell. So I should do a video on those ones. Those kind of suck. You don't always have to take the door panel off all the way. Sometimes you can just pull back and take out the seal. Yep, that's true. You can, I should say, popping off the door panel or pulling out the seal. I like to leave just both as is because I don't pull out most seals because there's a lot of cars that still don't have seals that pop out very easily, and I never really took the time to figure out which ones do and which ones don't. Patrick, he did. He took the time to figure out a lot of doors. He doesn't mind removing door panels. He does it all the time. So he's a great person to ask about stuff like that. I just always like to learn a pretty universal method for installing film. One where, you know, I didn't have to pull a panel because the way you put it back on sometimes isn't always the way that it came off, and it's just one less thing that I have to worry about. You know, put a door panel back on. Even if you did it perfectly, I've had those people that are like, hey, I hear something rattling in my door. Did you pull it off, or what did you do? And I can always say, I didn't do anything, just tinted the window. So that's why I like doing things that way. Sorry. I snap certain rear windows, older Mustangs, Fusions, Accords. Yeah, those are the pretty flat back windows. You could definitely do it on that. Just the more like most every other back windows, though. It's just, I don't know. I like to leave everything as even as I can, so shrinking the whole thing is definitely my way of doing it. I missed the first comment. Somebody said with Lexan. Oh, the quarter windows with Lexan film. Maybe, I don't know. I actually haven't tested the Lexan film yet. That video is coming. I get a lot of people asking about it still. Don't worry, I'm busy getting everything set for that full review. So we have to put it on a lamp, and we're going to see if we can fade it over the course of a month. I'll probably have a video out on Tuesday, though, explaining everything. So maybe I could do like an initial impressions and the setup to that video, and then the actual review video I can't have out until I've tried to weather the film a little bit. So I did open it, though, and I was quite surprised. It feels good, and the color looks really nice. So they get kudos for that. For just being an inexpensive film that actually feels okay and looks nice, they get my full credit for that. It's pretty cool. But the only things that really have me concerned is they're calling it a color stable film, which it's super cheap for a color stable film. You're talking at least like double the price for a color stable film for a regular one that's on the market. And then they give it a lifetime warranty. That's always up in the air. Everybody says their film is a lifetime warranty film, but in actuality there's a lot of strings and stuff along with those lifetime warranty claims. So I don't know exactly what they would cover under any type of lifetime warranty. It doesn't mean that if anything goes wrong, then you just get free film back, or they cover labor. Like, we'll get into that and into some future videos, but like Lumar's got a full warranty program where they pay labor, they pay for film, and they pay for reinstallation. Then there's other companies that will just pay for just the film cost. They'll pay a set fee of like $5-10 for a door, maybe $20 for a door, and then $50 for a back window. So they'll pay up to a certain point, and then other companies will cover up to like roughly $200 per car. So that usually varies with the cost of that film, and they like to work that price into the cost of the film. So there's a bunch of caveats with lifetime warranty. So definitely read between the lines whenever you're buying a film like that, when they just slap it on the box. If you're going to rely on that in any way, shape, or form, then read the fine print on your warranty cards and stuff like that. But this film, Lexan, it's cheap enough to the point where most people are probably not buying it for the lifetime warranty. It's just like they want a cheap enough film that's still reliable, and that's what I'm going to try and find out with this film above everything else. So. Okay, where am I at? Check your engine oil level regularly. Yeah, in that car, for sure, it's pretty beat up. Hi there from China. Have you heard of Cold Steel? It's a brand I've seen claiming to be Israeli. Is it legit? I have not heard of that one actually. If you could drop a link in the chat, I'll check it out for sure. At least like look into what kind of film it is. And then maybe I'll order it too. Who knows? But no, I have not heard of it yet. Am I selling tinting tools? Yeah, they're right here. We have training tools up on our website, certifiedtinter.com, in the store section. All these are just like basic handles and squeegees and stuff like that. Stuff that is good enough to get started and to definitely, like, you can tint full cars with it, but it's not anything that I would rely on. Some of the stuff I would for sure. Like we got full-blown side swipes and some other stuff. Just like the squeegees are definitely on the soft side. They're not the greatest. These things are a little bit spongy at the end. These like to start to wear out pretty quickly. The bulldozers, these are awesome actually. I use these all the time. So these are just completely legit. And I don't know, we got some off-brand like triangle cards. These I call the cheese slice because they're yellow. And they're real smooth. These are actually really good. But yeah, some of the stuff is a little bit and like it's not pro quality is what I'm trying to say. Not all of it is. So, but yeah, we definitely sell enough stuff to get started, to get going, and to tint some cars. And then as you get more proficient with it, I definitely have recommendations that go past that. But there's a lot of tool distributors already out there, and this was kind of a niche that's right in the middle that was looking to be filled. So professional tools are actually getting much more expensive than they used to be. So that's why I got this stuff. Anything to help people get started. We also have training film too as well. Is it harder to work with ceramic film? That's a good question. By and large, yes, but some of the newer ceramics coming out are actually pretty straightforward. So some of them are they're slower to shrink. They can be a little bit more rubbery in texture, but then there's the ceramics that are made with like a dye, and those by and large, they shrink really, really well, and they feel a lot more like all the other window films out there. If you're talking about like a 3M crystalline, that's just a different animal entirely, but most of the regular ceramics that are out there have come a long way. They're a lot more friendlier to work with. So a lot of companies will also send out samples, or you can pay for samples. So if you're looking to get into ceramic, definitely whatever company you're ordering from or brand you like, reach out to them and they'll send you some. Because like a full-blown roll of ceramic often will cost like $500-600 starting, and then go up from there. So just play around with some, see how you like it, and compare it to, you know, just the stuff that you use regularly. By and large, I can install a ceramic job. Maybe depends on the ceramic, but most of them will be a similar time frame to like a full dye film, so not too bad. Hey man, just started tinting, would like to know where to get some decent film for inexpensive and some quality tools for inexpensive. Well, we have the training tools. The training film, it's not something I would leave on your car for more than a week. It's probably going to fade pretty fast. But if you want some film that you're going to you said you're looking to get started, something like that is perfect for it, because you want to really just go as inexpensive with the film as you can, because you're going to learn a lot of things. Even if it's a 1 mil versus a 1.5 mil, there's going to be some differences there, but you're going to learn a lot of practical stuff to get you going, because you really are going to just scrap a lot of film in the very beginning, because we'll make it look easy, and then you go to try it and it'll just turn out to be completely different than you thought, and then you go back, watch the videos, you start to understand a couple more things that you might have missed, and then just kind of go from there. So I would recommend both the film and the tools that we have for just getting started, but also there's websites like Tint Depot that have some good inexpensive film options. Amazon and eBay aren't bad places either. I'd recommend Lexan just to try it out. Just by the feel and the color of it, it's hard to beat that as far as price goes. But I can't speak to the longevity of it. So just for getting going, don't look into really spending excessive amounts of money into like the professional films yet. Just rec some films, see how you like it, and then go from there. The professional tools are worth investing in if you really are thinking about getting into it, because they're really like, as far as industries to get into, even professional tools are probably only going to set you back a couple, like probably like $250 to get most everything that you would want. You know, but you could get like a basic kit to get going for probably about $40-50. So that's really the difference. Is Solar FX film a good film to learn with? It depends on what the price is. I've heard great things about Solar FX. I know they got a good following and they're a solid company. But the price is really what you gotta keep in mind when you're going to buy a film. Like if they have some really inexpensive offerings, like I would look for something around the range of like $160 for a 60-inch roll. So that would roughly be about 80 to $90, maybe $100 for like a 40-inch by 100-foot roll, is kind of the price range where I would recommend, where you can really get comfortable with wasting film. Because if you spend a lot of money on the film, then you're going to be worried about wasting it, and that's like when you're learning, it's all about just trial and error. There's some things that you can do to make the most of the film that you got. Like if you're cutting out a top edge, you don't need to just try and cut out the whole door and then move on to the next piece. You can try and cut your top edge, shift the film up, cut another top edge, shift the film up, and really get a lot of mileage out of just one piece of film. But just try to don't look so much at the professional stuff just to get started. Go play around with some inexpensive options. Just try it out and then see how you like it. How good is Helios ceramic film and warranty? It's good. I like the film. It's a good ceramic film. Been using it for quite a while, so it looks good. It shrinks. It's a little bit like a rubbery texture, like I was saying before. It shrinks well, but it doesn't shrink quickly. So that's something to keep in mind with it. And as far as the warranty goes, you got to check out their website for that. They're not going to cover like removal and installation and stuff like that. Their policy is probably more along the lines of like film replacement, just because they're a smaller company. But that's like, that all has to do with the cost of the film too. It's not the most expensive ceramic out there, so you're not going to get the white glove treatment if something goes wrong with the film. So that's something to keep in mind. ASAW? I thought you were saying ASWF. Sorry, if you are saying ASWF, which I think you are, Daniel, the film will pay face value of the original receipt paid by the customer. Not in my experience. I actually had a really horrific experience with ASWF. So I just want to clarify, if there's like, I'm gonna ramble on too much about this, but I had a really bad experience with ASWF. They changed the chemical in the glue. The glue went bad after sitting on the window for, you know, a couple days. Basically, this was like early in the year. It was cooler out. When you tint the window, that moisture in between the film and the glass needs time to dry. Well, they added a new chemical to the glue, which caused the glue to crystallize and look like little teeny tiny dirt specks. So the job would go away, customer would be happy. Then they came back at the like a couple weeks later, and there's all these little speckles all over it. So the glue was crystallizing, and they had to warranty a shit ton of film across their, like, just a ton of film they had to warranty out. And they did cover up to $200 per car, which was not the full ticket price, especially with removal. But $200 is definitely better than just film replacement, and they did at least live up to that. I have some other issues with the way that whole situation was handled, but it's done. It's in the past. Moving on. Ended up switching films because of that whole situation. They weren't a they're not a bad company. It was just a really, really bad experience with film. To install that film for like a month and then have literally like a month of solid comebacks, and then after that we still had scattered comebacks throughout the year. It was pretty bad. What do you use to prevent your fingers or skin from cracking? Ooh. There's this really good stuff called that's a good question because I don't always use it. Working hands, I think. Let me just pull it up quick. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm gonna recommend this stuff really quick. This stuff, O'Keeffe's Working Hands. I like this stuff a lot. It's a hand cream. I couldn't tell you exactly what's in it, but it works really, really quickly. Just keep staying consistent with it. And yeah, it does. Like my thumb in the winter time, especially like in here, really starts to crack really bad, and then the ends of my fingers will start to crack from like using baby shampoos and stuff like that. So you use that over the course of a couple days, and it can help out a ton. Also, just wash the detergents or soaps and stuff off your hands too after you tin a vehicle or something like that, because if they stay on your hands, it's definitely going to just kind of dry them out over the day. What is your way to tint those real small front side windows that no tools will fit into that are deep? Well, I will personally, I take one of these soft ones and I cut it down. So they're like little small squeegees, and these work great for most front quarters and back quarters. So like you could do it with like any bigger squeegee. So like let's just, for shits and giggles, let's say this was a Blue Max. I do the same thing with like an old Blue Max, just chop it down to make a smaller squeegee. But the one that comes to mind is the VW Golf. And that you really just have to get creative with modifying tools to try and tint. And, you know, I've seen people that try and take off the pillar, but there's airbags there, so you should replace the proper clips, because if you pop them off and pull out the clips for the airbag, you're like, it's an airbag pillar that's calibrated in a special way. It's manufactured in a special way. So if you want it to be factory quality, you're supposed to put the factory clips back on, not just jam it back in there and hope everything's okay. So that's something to keep in mind. But that you just really have to get creative with some tools. I've seen a bunch of different videos or people talking about them. There's no super easy way to do it, but for most quarter windows, just tap down like one of these squeegees. The little turbos are okay, but like there's just nothing quite like chopping one of these squeegees down. Sorry, I'm just reading back through some of these. Tinted front windows. Sorry. Tinted the front windows on both of my trucks after watching your Walmart tinting video and using Lexan pre-cut tint. Turned out great. Nice. Glad it went good for you. That's awesome to hear. Good job. Let's see. Does anyone use global window film? Yeah, global's super popular. What can I say about them? I haven't used global for very long, but things that I can tell you from initial impressions, very easy shrinking film, very good looking film. The one real interesting characteristic about it is the glue. It's a glue that when you squeegee it down, it grabs, and it grabs hard. It like that shit'll lock in place, which is great when you want it to. And then if you ever have to remove it off the glass, it was a pain in the ass. It's like just scraping. It's a thick, firm layer that's just difficult to scrape off. So that's like my only thing that I wish they would change about that film. Other than that, everything else was really, really good about it. And I hear it lasts a really, really long time too. It's a deep dyed film by and large. So yeah, if you use global, you should be happy with it. Ta-da. Alrighty, Reno. People talk about Reno. How old are you and when did you start tinning? I'm 31 now and I started tinning when I was 19, 20. So shit, been going on 11 years now. Been saying 10 years for 2 years now. So I've been tinning for about 11 years now. Didn't choose to get into window tinting, kind of just fell into it. My dad ran a auto accessories company, and so I had been around the auto accessories space for quite a while, and I worked there, a little bit of a summer job, did like car detailing, and then after high school, just kind of worked there on the side while I was going to aviation mechanics school. Then I was getting to like still doing detailing, getting more into like auto accessories, so remote starts, like step bars. I replaced auto glass for a little while, just some random stuff around the shop, and then the window tinter quit over the weekend, and then he asked me if I wanted to learn how to tint and hired somebody to come teach me what I know today. Well, not entirely. I learned a lot more over the years, but yeah, I had a great trainer, and it took me about a good year before I was really comfortable with most situations. So it was a very gradual learning process. I wasn't even allowed to touch the car while he was tinting for at least the first couple weeks. And like when you're trying to teach somebody tinting and then still trying to tint other cars, it's extremely challenging because you have to slow down to teach them something, and whenever they mess up, you have to make up for that mistake, and then, yeah, it's a juggling act, so it's just tricky, but that's how I got started. I have a 2019 Ram Limited. My rear windows are factory tinted, but not real dark. I would like them to be darker because my truck is all black. Any special things I should know before having a shop do it? No, just go for it. I actually do a bunch of those. The 2019 Rams are super popular right now. Be careful on your windshield if you want to get your windshield tinted. Fun fact, the BCM for that is in the lower left-hand kick panel. So a lot of people right now are talking about the Dodge Rams going crazy when people are tinting the windshield, and I actually just had one go crazy the other day because I didn't realize exactly where it was. So a lot of people are roping off the dash, putting towels everywhere, and that still doesn't protect it because the water is actually seeping down the sides a little bit and running down some wires directly to the BCM. So I know you're not asking about your windshield, but just so people know right now, that's on my mind. Keep that in mind for tinting all the 2019 Dodge Rams. But as far as factory tint, you can go crazy with it. Like put whatever you want over it. It's just dyed glass. So you can go as dark as you want. What I end up doing for most customers is either if they want to go with limo, like they want to achieve a limo percentage, so that would be about 5%, you're going to put a 20% over what's on there right now. So factory tint on those is going to be right in the range of like 20%. So 20 over 20 is going to be 5%. And then if you do like 35 over that, you're going to be about 10%. So, you know, it'll be a little bit lighter going that way. So some people like to just black out their whole thing, but you got 20 on there right now. So putting a layer of like 35 will drop it down to about 10, and 20% will black it out pretty much as dark as I would ever advise going. Don't put limo over it. That, in my opinion, is just like stupid dark. You can't really see out of it anymore, especially at night. How many gallons is your sprayer hold to put 2 drops? What? One on each side of the car with an automatic system. How many gallons is your sprayer hold trying to put? Oh, okay, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to put 2 drop sprayers, one on each side of the car. That one is just a 3-gallon sprayer. The bigger ones are 5 gallons, so definitely go with that for like a drop-down system. But yeah, you could definitely do it with like a 5-gallon. That would be pretty cool. So it gets a 3-gallon. It depends. It also depends on how much water you spray. I usually go a little bit heavy, but I'll get about, out of that one, I'll get about 5 or 6 full cars out of it. So that's something to keep in mind. What do you think about Lexan? I will give my thoughts in a future video. I'll hopefully have something on Tuesday about the setup for testing that film. and we'll go from there. So right now, color looks great, and it feels really good. I was surprised as soon as I took it out of the box, because I've felt a lot of cheap films lately, and this one feels much more professional grade. So good on them for that. So as far as like just an inexpensive, good-looking film, yeah, I'd go for it right now. But I couldn't tell you how long it'll last. That's always like the caveat with a lot of inexpensive films. I mean, with any film, you never know exactly how long it's going to last. But if you are going to put a film on a car that you need it to last a long time, you want a company that's going to back it up, or you're going to want to be able to put aside money in case you have problems with it down the road. Watch tinting Ram driver store. They have a door module that gets wet and it makes the truck go crazy. I've done that before. Yeah, when they first changed to those newer style switches. This was quite a few years ago though. I think it was like 2012, 2013. As soon as they flipped to those different switches, I got those switches overly wet, and then yeah, the wipers started going, the horn started honking, lights started flashing, yeah, all sorts of craziness from those. So yeah, definitely keep those covered too. There's a lot of things that are just tied together through those switches, so I'll usually throw a rag over it, or I'm just like, it might seem like I use a little bit too much water, but I'm usually just one and done with the window and wipe it all up. So I always make sure that the water does not trail to the switches. So don't want to soak those down for sure. In your area, what is the price for 2 front doors in ceramic? Around here is typically around $150. Some places will go like $130. But usually $130, $150 is the broad range for ceramic on 2 front doors. It's good stuff. I really like it. It's hard to sell ceramic. I will say that. Like, I guess it depends on who you are and who your customer base is. So there's a lot of like cheaper shops that will offer ceramic, but they have a hard time selling it because they have a much cheaper clientele base, and they've usually built that up on less expensive pricing. So that's whole game entirely. There's a lot of people that will like when they come in to get their cars tinted, they don't even realize there's brand names to window films. There's different types of window films because it can be a lot for somebody just to take in. So the heat box demonstration is the best way though I've seen to sell ceramic films. So put that film on a heat box, turn the light bulb on, switch out the film, turn the light bulb on again, and their eyes will either light up or they'll go, oh, okay, and then they'll move on. So that's a pretty quick way to tell if they value it or not. Using Lexan over a year now, no fade or glue issues. That's good to know. Yeah, I always appreciate feedback on that type of stuff. It's always random too. I get like some people, okay, there have been issues where I've used the particular product and I will have, you know, a very common issue with it, and then there'll be somebody out there that says they never had that issue with that product whatsoever, and I like, and then you're like, I've been using it all my life and I've never had that issue, and it's like, okay, I'm sure you have at least once, maybe. So, but I always try and take a broad approach to feedback on that, so I appreciate it. Hey bro, if it's too hot where we live, do we add more soap because it dried and it looked bad? Yeah, for hotter conditions, definitely add a little bit more soap. It's actually like in the 90s right now, so I've added a little bit more soap too. And yeah, like the film, it can just stick a lot quicker to the glass, and that could also be like hydrophobic coatings and stuff like that too, which make it more difficult to get the film in place. Generally, I like my slip solutions a little slippy. You can slide the pattern around where you need it and then lock it in place. So definitely, if it's sticking, definitely add more soap until it gets to the point where it's just like, oh, this is way too much, and then just lighten up. So it's all a balancing act. I didn't even know you could tint a windshield. Do you have a video on it? I never knew tinting was such an art till I ran across your videos. Aw, thanks, man. That's a cool compliment. Yeah, you can definitely tint them. I'm trying to think of if I have any YouTube videos. Windshield. I did a live stream on it last week about how to safely tint a windshield. I'm looking it up right now, actually, to see what I have on YouTube. Title contains windshield. Well, that's annoying. It didn't even bring them all up. Oh, I'm in the live thing. YouTube's going slow right now because I'm live streaming. Hang on one second. Let me see if I can pop up and I'll answer another question. But yeah, certifiedtinner.com, that's where we have all our re-uploads and live streams and stuff like that. I just did one literally last week on a windshield. What do you think of Max Pro? I'm not sure, because I actually haven't touched Max Pro in a long time. The film that I saw was not, like, this was years ago, though. It looked a little green, but I haven't seen it in a long time, so they might have changed it. But they don't have... Oh, okay. Daniel says it's not bad, but since they lived here in Central Valley, it takes a couple days to arrive. Yeah, they can happen depending on location, so can't knock them too much for that, but they don't have ceramic film. That's a bummer. I'm surprised. Most every company that has a window film has a ceramic film. Let's see if YouTube loaded. Where's my... Oh. There we go. Wow. I really don't have a windshield video on my YouTube channel. That's kind of funny. Oh, okay. It's on certifiedtinner.com though, and there are other windshield videos too, but very similar to back window. There's just a lot more electronics and stuff like that right underneath the dash. So definitely put towels and ropes and stuff like that. So, but yeah, you came across my channel and learned more about windshields and stuff like that. That's sweet. It makes me happy because I don't know how many people realize that there's a huge market that have no idea about window tinting whatsoever. So any more information that I can bring, enlighten people about it, it's cool. It's its own special craft, really. So if like going to get your windows tinted at a shop might seem expensive, but there's a reason for it. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into getting where we are today, and we can make something look easy, but it took us a long time to get there. Just like with any technical skill, really. It just takes a lot of time to get really proficient at it, but once you are, you make it look easy, so yeah. And I'm done rambling about that. Thanks for answering my question. You're welcome. Thank you for asking one. We finished right now, and damn it, look bad after we finished like dry soap spots. Okay, so it's probably air streaks. It could be a couple of things. So in the video that I had, you'll see, like if you go back through the timeline, you'll see the way that I squeegee it out. You have to try and also squeegee it out evenly, because if air trails back into where you had previously squeegeed, it's dry. So you're just kind of squeegeeing air straight over where you went, and it'll make it look like a bunch of, you know, dry soap spots or streakiness or air is usually what that is. So pull it back, spray it down, but that usually can bring dirt back into it, and then you have to start over again. So that's just rinse and repeat stuff. So that could probably be what the issue you had was. Alrighty. Use a heat box. I use a heat box to give a demo on ceramic film. Really impressive for customers. Yeah, that takes the whole, like, here, let me show you a bunch of numbers on a piece of paper and try and explain to you all the technical stuff about it. But really, it's like when they sit in their car, what is it going to do for them? And you can't really explain that in a way that most people are going to understand from a piece of paper. So it's like, let's try and simulate sunlight for you and physically show you the difference between the two. That's the most down-to-earth thing that you can get. super happy when I first saw that demo. It's a really cool way to try and sell it in, you know, a split second. So alrighty, so we have come to the end. We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up tonight. I want to thank you all for coming and hanging out with me today on a Saturday night of all nights. I do these every Tuesday or every Thursday. Patrick from the Window Tinting Business Channel, he does his on Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. I do mine on Thursday night, 9:30 p.m. So I will see you guys next week, Thursday at 9:30 p.m. like I just said. The video will be left up for the next 24, 48 hours. Sometimes I've just been lazy about taking them down, but they'll be up on the channel. So if you're tuning in late, you still have some time to watch it. You can go back and rewatch it, that type of stuff. Then we catalog everything on CertifiedTinner.com. So I just want to say thank you again for hanging out with me, and I will see you guys Thursday night. So bye-bye.